Maybe you've heard people say something like this: I don't need theology, I just read the Bible. Or, I follow the confessions of our founders. Here's an important thing to keep in mind. All of these statements are actually a theology. You can't not do theology, because theology is simply the process of human beings talking about God. You see, theology does not equal God. Theology is the human attempt to use language, metaphors, and images to describe God and how God works. God is infinite, and we are finite. No human words could ever accurately describe God. The best and most complex theologies are little more than childish sketches in relation to the infinite mystery of God. So, what's the point? Why even talk about God at all? Just because we can't wrap words around God or define God and how God works with 100% accuracy doesn't mean that God doesn't exist or that God isn't knowable. That's like saying that just because a child can't completely understand her parents, she shouldn't communicate with them or strive to learn more about them and grow in the relationship. Theology is the process of God's children trying to figure things out. The more connected we are to people and their theologies that have been evolving throughout human history, and the more our ability to observe the universe through telescopes and microscopes, the more necessary it is for our theology to change. Let's take an example from physics. What is an atom? Democritus was a Greek philosopher in 400 BCE. He speculated that the universe was built of tiny building blocks that cannot be cut into any smaller pieces. That's what atom means, uncuttable. Being a good Greek, he imagined that the atom was a perfect sphere. In 1803, John Dalton started thinking about the atom again, and due to advancing technology, was able to run experiments about it. He began with Democritus's model of the perfect solid sphere. The atom, he thought, was like an 8-ball. In 1897, J.J. Thomson discovered that there was a smaller part within the atom. He called it an electron. Thomson's atomic model was like a blob of pudding with raisins suspended through it. Ernest Rutherford tested Thomson's theory in 1909 and discovered that there was a solid core at the center of an atom. Scientists began thinking of the atom much like the structure of the solar system. The nucleus was at the center, like the sun, and the electrons orbited it, like the planets orbiting the sun. Niels Bohr discovered that the electrons are on different levels and can jump levels. And since the 1930s, physicists have discovered that there are subatomic particles called quarks that behave in unpredictable patterns. They also believe that the electrons are not particles at all, but are force fields of energy. Many quantum physicists now believe that the most of what we consider solid matter is actually the illusion of matter that is constructed by the bonds of high-energy force fields. So which is it? Is the universe a collection of tiny 8-balls? Is it a system of interlocking solar systems? Or is it more like a hologram projection of force fields? The answer? All and none. Each of these pictures is a model of the atom, and none of them is equal to the atom. The atom is the atom, and our models are the human attempt to discuss and frame the atom within our limited language. Models are necessary, and we need to construct them and use them to help us understand the universe and make practical decisions about how to live in the universe. At the same time, we need to be willing to reimagine our models when new information comes along. God is God, and we will never be able to fully or accurately describe God. Yet, we must construct models of God. This is called theology. Our theology is based on the witness of Scripture, the dialogue of cultures, and the human ability to reason and imagine how the universe functions based on our most current experiences and observations. Theology matters, and theology changes, because we change. But theology is not God. We worship God, not our theology.